Good, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Bruh, I feel like every day we've come on here this week, we have literally been talking about another injury update. We got to talk about what's going on with Cole Kmet, how that could affect the Bears heading forward. Talk about the update that we've got on Darnell Wright. And of course, I needed to bring some positivity here, right? So now we get the fry, ESPN. ESPN. Hey, listen, the predictions weren't made from ESPN Chicago. That's all that matters to me. We got to talk about the prediction that the Bulls are going to win 37 games this season. And finally, Lonzo versus Stephen A. We didn't get to talk about it yesterday because the White Sox were firing people, but then brought back Tony La Russa. What the heck's going on there? Nobody knows what's going on.
What is happening?
It's bananas out here. That's what it is. But all that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Let's jump into the show, man. Let's jump into the show. Hey, Steve-O did tell me I got to talk to you about that every time we jump up on this mug. You be biting the lip, bro. What's going on with that, bro? What's going on with that, bro? Yeah, I mean,
you're looking too close. That's what you. Hey, Steve-O looking too close. That's what it is.
Steve-O looking too close. It's on Steve-O. It's on Steve-O for that one.
It's on Steve-O.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you know what it is? I can't
Ringo J. Stefan Adon in the building. Steph, what's good?
What's good, man? Hey, man, trying to stay hydrated and
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, right?
Hey.
So behind the curtain, I was like, "Hey, are we going in the studio?" The studio is perfect. Except, all the ventilation ain't perfect. So we be a little warm in there on a regular day, right? So we literally was like, hey, we doing this?
No.
Are we leaving the house? Y'all know Ringo dealing with the CP out here. So he was like, hey, bro, I can't grab the walker.
Bro,
the walker will have the hands on
that
fire.
mug is like, hey, it's steaming. I told you, it's the accuracy. Hey,
bro. That mug is hilarious how hot it is out there, bro. It's just, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. This is the first day where legit I was like, man, I'm glad I'm not an electrician no more. Because literally it got to like 11 o'clock and I'm still on all the email threads that like get sent out and come back in. There might be a security risk or something, but nobody took me off of them. So I just saw an email come through at like 11:30, like, all right, it's officially over 95 degrees. Y'all can go home now. I was like, you had to stay out there till it got to that point. I'm glad I'm not out there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no.
But hey, man, let's jump into some of these updates from today. Like I said, I feel like every single day this week, we have been talking about some kind of injury, somebody being added to the injured list. I mean, let me see. Let me look at the titles just from this week. Literally Monday, Tevin Jenkins injury news. Tuesday, Darnell Wright injury news. We're now at Wednesday, Cole Kmet injury news. We were talking about this going into the Colts game, all of the injury news that we have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got more injury news. Cole Kmet apparently was carted off the field today with an apparent ankle injury. Now, here's the thing about him being carted off of the field. Everybody take a breath. Where they were practicing at is a long walk back to the facility. So when you're right, there's a practice field. I believe they were in the Walter Payton Center today. It's a good walk. Like when we were there for practice, you gotta I can't imagine walking there today. Like it would have been terrible. So he ends up getting carted back basically to the main facility over there, back to Hallis. And I think it's more so because the issue was made, the injury happened and they didn't want him to walk back on it. But at a minimum, right, we're adding another name to the list. On a positive note, we do have Darnell Wright, who on the flip side of all of this, right, offensive line coach for the Bears basically came out and said that he feels like he's doing great, feels like he's moving in the right direction, feels like he's going to be okay. Everything, everybody take a breather. They're not
ready for week one.
On a precautionary tail, hopefully ready for week one, right? Like I said this the other day, I think that the injury list gets a lot shorter the second that we're playing up against Packers week, right? Like I think that there's a lot of soft tissue things that are going on. But I mean, listen, you're now at a point where you have to come into this and take the most precaution that you can with everybody. I don't want to see anybody in this Bills game. I know there's a lot of people that have the belief of like, hey, you got to put guys out there and see what they got, especially with this new offensive line. Get to the season healthy. Get to the season ready to go. Revamp it. At this point, it's not even just about winning or losing that first Packers game. I do think that is a very important game. It's a double win or loss, depending on what you do, right? But I mean, like you've got to get to this season and get a unit on the field that's going to be there consistently. I'm hoping that like I said, a lot of these injuries are just little dings and nicks that you're going to play through during the season. But again, when you don't have to tell us anything right now, there's a ton of speculation out there. That's why we're having these conversations.
No, yeah, definitely. And I mean, the way I see it, I was trying to at first I did say like they needed to probably throw the starters out there. Well, at least on the offensive line in the third week, but I kind of switched up on that because seeing the injury list, it was literally looking at it like, yo, I didn't know this many guys was out. And like you said, I mean, there's some soft tissue things going on, but I mean, mainly you're looking at these guys on the injured list, and to be honest, you want it. I mean, to be honest, it's more so on the offensive line that you're worried about, right? That's the thing that you gotta. Those are the things that you gotta shore up. That's the camaraderie issue, and right now you just want to get into the season. Start the season healthy, like other teams, like the Packers, for instance. Like, yeah, they're gonna be playing some of their starters in the third week, but that's because they're finally gonna put Aaron Rodgers out there. He's got to get some camaraderie with his guys. But just in terms of this and where the offense is and where we think the offense can go as a whole for this season, you need the offensive line guys healthy. So I'm totally fine with them not playing anybody in that third week of preseason. Because also too, most of the guys are fighting for jobs.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, you're gonna have that second unit, that third unit, and we predicted, kind of who's gonna make it on the first unit and on the offensive side on the Chicago Bears podcast today. Mm-hmm. But like, you're in a situation now where I guess the biggest question is who's gonna make the team. There's a lot of jobs that are being played for now, which realistically you could be talking about as important jobs, because if this guy doesn't make the team. Or I'm sorry, if this guy goes into the season hurt, do you got to take somebody else into the season on the team, like a Tevin Jenkins situation right now? You're in a situation with Tevin where you have no choice. You have to carry him through on the 53 to be able to put him on IR. I need people to understand that. So it's not 4 weeks from the day that we found out that Tevin Jenkins gets hurt. After this preseason game, when cut downs go through, then the Chicago Bears, once you pass the 53, can place him on IR. He's on IR a minimum of 4 weeks, but that depends on when the injury is going to be healed up in reality. That also goes into all of this. So it's not just, we can put him on there, he'll be back by week 3. There's a lot of things that go into this, and that means you might be looking to take a Ja'Tyre Carter into the season, a Doug Kramer into the season, because realistically, right, Cody Whitehair is going to slide to left guard. Lucas Patrick's going to be snapping. That means you have no backup center right now. Your backup center's who? Doug Kramer. You might be taking Doug Kramer into the season. So that's where a lot of the concern is right now with the team. I think if Cole Kmet going down, that there's a major concern there if it lingers into the season. I don't know if this is something that's going to linger into the season, though. I'm not there as far as concern yet when it comes to Tevin Jenkins. Maybe we'll get there. Right? But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, even on that front, right? Even on the Cole news, I'm with you. I'm not necessarily too worried because I don't think it'll be much of anything. But even if he does go out, right, that's what you got Robert Tonyan for. He can slide into that position, and you still got Mercedes Lewis for the most part. These are vets that have played in the Getty system before, so I think they'll be able to take care of it. But just on the Cole, just in terms of the Cole news, I don't think it'll linger on for too much longer.
Now, I've seen this a little bit today too, saying everyone said Justin has no more excuses, but Poles didn't do enough on the line. You can't hold injuries against Ryan Poles. right? Like I think he did do enough on the line, because if you think about this, right, when you're coming into training camp, well, we've made it through most of training camp. We've talked about our starting five. And then we've talked about Alex Leatherwood. Then we've talked about Lucas Patrick. Then we've talked about, right? Like, I think that he did do enough to address this offensive line, adding in the rookie as well. You're just to the point where now we're talking about fourth and fifth string guys that probably weren't supposed to make the team being what you're looking at. You can't, I mean, listen, it's a collision sport. Guys are going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, guys are going to get hurt. Guys are, gonna go down, and this is why you need to have the depth. This is why I think that they probably will. Normally, you're probably only carrying 8 offensive linemen into the season. The Bears might have to carry 10. You might have to cut somebody and hope they make it to the practice squad, because the Bears might have to carry 10 offensive linemen into the season to start this season. That doesn't mean that 2 of these guys are already on the roster either. Remember, Doug Kramer, I like Doug Kramer. I like that he's from Chicago. I think he's a good guy. I hope that he ends up panning out for the Chicago Bears. I don't believe in Doug Kramer right now because Doug Kramer hasn't done it versus NFL talent, number ones that are trying to take you out on a week in, week out basis. He hasn't protected my franchise quarterback. So what's that probably mean when this waiver wire comes up? Remember, Bears have first pick at the waiver wire. And it's not like the draft. I think some people think it's like the draft too. It's not like the draft in fantasy where I get my pick and then you get your pick and then we go back through. No, Bears have first pick to everyone they want, so they can go out and ball out on the waiver wire. So what that means is you're probably looking at, this guy's going to be down right now, or this guy got cut, right? This guy, but he's played center his entire life. He knows how to do this. He knows how to block at an NFL level. He knows how to put out how to block in this scheme already, right? So I think there's a lot of factors that Ryan Poles still has to go through, but I don't think that he didn't do enough for this offensive line. As far as trusting Tevin's body, I mean, like that, you were probably destined to shoot yourself in the foot on that. But you had so many holes on this team, you had to legitimately go out and look at and see, which ones needed addressing most. And you thought that if Tevin Jenkins can be in there, he's your best offensive lineman. I don't think anyone doubts that.
Yeah, and the thing about that is the only thing that we were talking about that was gonna hold him back was health. I mean, I'm shocked that people in the comments are even talking about that, right? Because there's been a couple of people in the comments that I know that have said Tevin probably wasn't going to play 5 straight games anyway. So I mean, like the fact that you have that depth at the offensive line helps. I think he probably will carry 10 offensive linemen into the season. To me, like. What are the chances for you? Do you think that he's gonna? What are the chances? What are the chances that you think that Poles is gonna hit the waiver wire at some point in time during the season to address this offensive line?
I think he probably hits the waiver wire going right on the day that everybody gets cut. I think there's going to be some bodies that you look at, right? I believe it's August 27th is the cut down day where you have to get everybody down to the 53-man roster. I think he's going to look at the waiver wire that day. There's going to be some people that teams wanted to keep that realistically, right, it just didn't make sense to pay that guy, or you had another guy coming up and you were able to make some money back off of the cap casualty of cutting him. We thought that was going to be Cody Whitehair coming into this season. It just so happened that right where we're at right now, you wanted to keep Cody Whitehair for that veteran experience. But there's a lot of things I think the Bears are going to attack it pretty much on that cut down day. I don't think they're going to let a lot of bodies get past them. I don't think they're going to let a lot of names get past them if they feel like, yes, we have this guy who's pretty good, but we got something better that just hit the waiver wire. That happens all the time. We talk about big names popping up. Now, I will say this. They're probably older and probably old guys, because realistically, if you're a 28-year-old center that's pretty good, I'm probably not cutting you. I'm probably paying you a lot of money.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I just think that and he's like Poles has done so much of an A+ job this entire offseason that I think that in the back of his head he knew already what we were thinking about the whole Tevin Jenkins thing. Like that had to be in the back of his mind. So I don't think that he didn't not necessarily plan for it.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna make some type of move. It's not gonna be a big move. I think it's just gonna be like a stopgap thing per se. But I think they'll be okay. Like I said, I don't see Eberflus telling them to go out there and play any of the guys, because now I think that Brian Pohl's main priority to him is just to get to the season and start the season off healthy to really see what this offense can do, because it's all going to be predicated on the offensive line as of what this offense does coming up this season.
It's going to be a big thing. And I mean, listen, like I said before, right? Like, don't think that this is going to be when the Chicago Bears get to the regular season, we're going to have 30 guys that aren't playing. When the Chicago Bears get to the regular season, the injury list is probably going to be Tevin Jenkins, maybe a couple of guys that you look at and go, oh man, like I guess he was dinged up a little bit more, right? Maybe, but like Tremaine Edmonds, I saw a video of him ramping up today. He looks great. He looks fast. He looks like he's back out there moving the way he was supposed to be moving again. But like, I mean, like that list is going to drop down from 20 names not playing, 30 names not playing to 2, 3, maybe, right? Like, there's going to be some guys that have bigger things that they're going to have to deal with, and there's going to be things that pop up during Packers week. But I think right now, right, any little thing, especially with what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, any little thing that is popping up, you're seeing them be very cautionary with. And somebody broke this down, right, and said, right, when you see the injuries that pop up after that first preseason game, it makes a lot of sense. They're not hitting as hard in practice anymore. They're not going through the same rigorous training that they were going through in practice anymore. In fact, right, even Mercedes Lewis, I remember hearing him on the sideline. Me and J-Mac were standing there, and he was talking with, I want to say he was talking with T-Med, Bears trainer. Bears equipment manager. And he was just laughing. And you could basically hear him saying, like, man, I wish that we had this my whole career. Like, this is so easy, bro. Like, this is so, like, because you got to think, he's been in the league almost 20 years, bro. Back when he came in the league, you had to have pads on. You're running 2-hour practices every practice. You're running 2-a-days. Like, bro, there's no such thing as a 2-a-day anymore. We used to hear about 2-a-days all the time. 2-a-days don't exist. 2-a-day mean I woke up today, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow to do it again today. Like, that's all a 2-a-day is.
Hey, he said he living right.
Bro, and it's not him, right? Like, he knows what job he's gonna do, but like, right, you get out there, you start playing real football, people start hitting you for real, those injuries start mounting up. These are injuries that normally we would see earlier in camp when guys are getting banged up and beat up on and hit on and all of that. And then by the time the preseason, the season gets here, they're kind of used to dealing with that soreness, that pain. Now you see them taking it a lot easier. I don't know if that's what's leading to a lot of these injuries, but it is a good a good argument to me of what could be leading to a lot of this stuff, and why when we see the season get here, right? Like, I'm telling y'all that you see these depth charts drop dramatically, right? Like, it's just like everyone's dead. Oh, it's just him. It's just him. He's dead.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, I forgot who you were talking to, but I remember the quote he said that I was never fully 100% going into the season when we started the season.
Yeah.
When
I was talking to Tom Waddle.
Yeah. When you were talking, to Waddle.
Different. Like, bro, he had Mike Ditka as his head coach. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
a different animal in itself.
Yeah, I can't call it, but yeah, I mean, even during certain weeks, right? Like, certain teams, they'll have like 4, 5, 6 like major dudes on the injury report, and then it's like, okay, by the time the week rolls around, okay, maybe it's about 2, and they're probable, and then like 2 minutes before the game, okay, he's ready to go. So it's just literally stuff like that. I don't think it's like much to do about anything. I think it's just a precautionary measure right now. Like that's all I believe it is.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it ends up being. Let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. Let us know how you guys feel in the chat. Where's your biggest concern right now with this Bears team? We're going to keep it pushing right along. I mean, like I said, ton to talk about today, ton to get into. We got to switch gears and switch sports here.
What's up?
Because listen, ESPN, yep. ESPN has I don't want them to hear this while I do it. There's a mic in the shirt. ESPN has the Chicago Bulls finishing the season with 37 wins. Now, the disrespect is crazy. Like, I get it, right? Like, a lot of people don't agree with the run it back theory. They don't agree with, going and re-signing Vooch. They don't agree with adding Javon Carter. That's not the depth but 37 wins, bro. 37 wins. Is that really what we're talking about right now? Is that really how we feel like this Bulls team is going to go into the season? I mean, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Like, I don't see a scenario where the Chicago Bulls got worse than they were last year.
Yeah.
And I can make the argument that at a minimum at two positions, they got better. 37 wins. Listen, I'm not sitting here telling you the Bulls are going to win 50. But I just don't believe that the team gets worse, and I don't believe that the team gets worse in areas that they addressed. That if they were better in them last year, we win 5 to 6 more games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What are your thoughts on 37 wins for the Chicago Bulls heading into this season?
Man, the blasphemy. Listen,
that's surprising coming from a Miami Heat fan. I thought you were going the other way on that.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Did DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine lead the team?
Apparently they're dead. I don't know. I don't know. Apparently they're dead.
Last time I checked, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine were still on the team. I mean, you still got a top 5 center that's giving you 17, 11, and almost 4 a game, which is wild. 37 wins is wild to me, right? Because if you look at the pickups that they made, right? Torrey Craig, not only that, but everybody was making a super big deal about, okay, Lonzo's out. What are we gonna do at PG? You resign Kobe, who's, listen, for all intents and purposes, he's probably looking to have a big year this upcoming year. Like, he just got paid. Then after that, you go out, you get another Chicago guy, Javon Carter. Now, listen, it's not the sexy pick. It's a cheap pickup, but at the same time, this dude is giving you defense and shooting, which is something that, yes, Lonzo gave you, and I know he's not the same big body as Lonzo, but he at least will have a shot to go out there and be a PG1 going into the season. And like I said, I don't like that dynamic of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. 37 wins. I just don't see it, because they look like they're trying to get back to at least what they had with Lonzo. But I want to say like
you're trying to do it by committee.
By committee. It's a shortened down version, watered down version of it. But they've made the pickups that they think that are at least sustainable enough to get us back into that picture where, okay, everybody's talking about the Bulls again and we can make some noise. But 37, it's like, who do they have over them?
So here is, I mean, there's a lot of teams over them realistically, right? But if you look at the bottom, you got the Celtics 55-27, Bucks 54-28, Cavaliers 50-32. This is in order, by the way, as well. 76ers, 4th seed, 47-35. The 76ers, you don't think that 76ers team is set to implode right now? You don't think that 76ers team is set to head the other direction right now with everything they got going on with James Harden? James Harden is going to go back to a team that Joel Embiid is on and just go, oh, guess what? Yeah, no, you're good, Joel. No, we're good. We're brothers. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know I said y'all suck. I don't want to play with y'all no more. I wanted to get the heck up out of here. But, like, I get it. No, it's all fine. Like, I don't see that 76ers team going out there and being the same team. I don't even see James Harden getting traded. Realistically, I see Daryl Morey basically saying, well, I can't get anything of value for you. I'm going to just let you rot here. And this is where your career will end. I wouldn't be surprised by it. They got the Heat 46-36. I don't have a problem with this, except for the fact that everybody's making these assumptions based on the Dame trade going through, and the Dame trade has not gone through.
I do see.
Y'all still got Jaime Hawkins.
About it, bro.
Y'all still got Jaime Jaquez right now. Jaime Jaquez is still on the team. Just in case y'all were wondering, that is still a valuable player that is holding up this entire trade deal. The Knicks 46 and 36, so right there with you. So you guys adding Damian Lillard literally gets you to where the Knicks are. The Hawks 41 and 41 because that works, right? Like we saw that work so well last season, didn't we? Didn't we see that work amazing last season? The Atlanta Hawks, right? That dominant Atlanta Hawks team that went out there and just Trae Young and DeJounte Murray looked like this, like they didn't play, like they played perfect basketball the entire season. They looked phenomenal, didn't they? The Nets are 39 and 43.
I got them with more wins. I got them with more wins.
I got them with less.
You think less?
Cam Johnson's finna cook. Like that's got to be your number two guy. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson.
Oh man.
Bro, also, the Celtics team at the top, by the way. So Kristaps gonna have that healthy season. That's dominating.
And I was just gonna say that. See, this is my thing with Boston, right? Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, 55 wins, 55 wins." There's no way Kristaps holds up. There's no way Kristaps holds up. And when Marcus Smart being gone. Those internal issues now that you were just able to we talked about it, we patched it up.
And if I'm not mistaken, right, the Celtics basically don't have a point guard right now, right?
No.
Because the Malcolm Brogdon injury is more than people thought it was. Like that's why they couldn't trade him. The Malcolm Brogdon injury was a serious injury. Right now, Derek White's your starting point guard. Then you go quickly into Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah. See, I don't see that working. You don't got a PG, and that bit. Like I get what they're trying to do because they're trying to they're trying to do the Milwaukee thing with the size, right? But with more shooting.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Here's the two parts I agree with. 9 and 10, I think I agree with. I think that the Pacers 38 and 44. I can see that. I could even see the Pacers being better than that.
I can see them improving.
And I think the Magic coming in at 10, 38 and 44. I believe they have us right behind the Magic at 37 and 45. But I don't see it, bro. I don't see the Bulls falling off that much. Right? Like, and here's the thing. You come into a situation where a lot of these teams are adding pieces. They're going to have to figure out that they're trying to figure out. The Bulls basically go out and add a point guard. The one thing that we said last season when the Bulls end up going 14-9 to finish the season is that the Bulls needed a point guard. They got a point guard. Oh, by the way, not only did they get a point guard that replaces the defense that Patrick Beverley brought at pretty much the same size. Like we're not sitting here like you basically went out and got Patrick Beverley, just less loud. But he also could shoot 40%
better shooter, yeah.
From everywhere on the floor. That's something Patrick Beverley could not bring you outside of the times we played the Miami Heat. You know what I mean? That's something that Patrick Beverley just couldn't bring you. And I'm a bigger believer that the Bulls are going to be going in the right direction this season than the wrong direction. Now, that does not mean that I believe the Chicago Bulls are going to go win an NBA championship. I just don't. I don't think that the Bulls are going to be one of the top teams in the East. But do I think that the Bulls can be a 4th or 5th seed with 47 or 46 wins? I do. I've said that multiple times because I know a lot of people don't like this, but continuity is important. Having teams that have the same players, the same coaches, the same systems, understanding the schemes, understanding where to be while players are getting better, right? Like that's the one part that we do have to see. Kobe White looks like he can cook in every pro-am that he steps his foot on, but is he going to be able to cook on a court on a consistent basis?
That's the truth. I mean,
all I want to see after every game is top it up. That's it.
And seriously, because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when you look at it, right? I mean, even with Miami, so to speak, that you can make the case. Oh yeah, you know those guys they're better on continuity, and look where it got them. But you know, once we got to the playoffs, the others that needed to improve stepped up in those areas, and man, we made the finals. So I mean, if you look at it, if Kobe improves, which I think he will. He just got paid. I don't see him trying to take a back seat. He's got another full off season.
I think Kobe might be trying to be the starting point guard in
Yeah.
a lot of these
Hey,
situations. I'm not
seriously.
gonna lie to you. I've said
Yeah,
this multiple times.
absolutely. I don't see him taking a back seat. He just got paid. Literally, he's got another full off season up under his belt. And these guys are pretty much going to be built off defense. Like, yeah, the whole running the back thing. But if you talk about the teams at the top, they got some stuff that they got to figure out. I'm looking at the Sixers. I'm looking at the Cavs because for all intents and purposes, everybody's talking about Donovan Mitchell ain't re-signing. Celtics, like you said, like that they'll be able to creep up on some teams, and listen, if P. Will ever finally decides that he wants to get it going, that gets you another extra body. You know, Torrey Craig's been out there, 3-and-D guy for the most part. Listen, they can do some things, but come on now, 37 wins, 37.
It's a little disrespectful. It's a little disrespectful in my book, man. Let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. We'll be down to talk with you guys as well. Where do you think this Bulls team is going to end up ranking? We do have to talk about another Bulls point guard that, to me, realistically is he's in a war of words with one Stephen A. Smith, the king of words. And very rarely do I'm a person who I very rarely go at Stephen A. like many people do, because I know how Stephen A. is, right? I know how irritating he is to some people, but to me, I also know there's a lot of information that Stephen A. withholds. There's a lot of information that Stephen A. doesn't put out. There's a lot of information that Stephen A. If he does put out, he's vetted it very much so, right? I'm actually a Stephen A. fan. For him to be a black man and be the face of a network as big as ESPN, no matter what you think about it, is crazy. How he's going about this Lonzo Ball business he basically puts the report out of Lonzo can't get up without being he can hardly get up. He struggles to get up from a sitting position. Lonzo Ball then puts out the video responding to Stephen A. of him doing squats in the chair, which is hilarious because realistically, doing squats in a chair doesn't mean that you can do basketball activity. But at a minimum, right, it does mean that, hey, listen, you're using a knee. Shout out to that. Love to see that. And he was saying he was doing it without discomfort, basically. Now, I don't know what happened when that camera cut off. That's what I've said on multiple platforms. Yeah. When that camera cut off, right, was it a right? Like, I don't know. I have no idea what happened.
That's the Peter Griffin when he fell on his knees.
I don't know what happened when that camera cut off. But while the camera was on, he looked good.
Yeah.
Since then, Stephen A. has gone back at Lonzo, basically turning this from him saying that Lonzo couldn't get up out of the chair without discomfort, to now you're not healthy enough to play NBA basketball. You can't move the goalpost on your argument. What you said was false, according to what Lonzo has put out there. Lonzo did not say that he could come back and play NBA basketball right now. He said that he was getting up out of the chair without discomfort. Whether you believe that or not, that's on you. The knee looked a little shaky to me, but also balancing on one leg is what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like, end of the day, realistically, if you look at the video, he did say he was coming back, just not.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I floated this idea out there too, right? Like, I was trying to see today if Arturo said he's going to miss the season or if he's going to miss the year. Because if he said he's going to miss the year,
he said season.
I thought he said season, but when Lonzo said, I'm coming back, baby, I'm like, did he say season or year? Because if he said season, then he's going to miss the season. If he said year, y'all remember how they did us last year? Lonzo Ball will be back next year.
Yeah.
He was talking about the next year. Yeah, I mean, like, come on, dog. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all pure speculation at this point. It's provocative. It gets the people going. Like in terms of that, I'm right with you, bro. Like, you can't move the goalposts because at the end of the day, like you said what you said, like, it's out there. It's in the clouds. You can't take that back. Lonzo's got his position on it. At the end of the day, like if I'm Lonzo, bro, just keep working, get better, because I don't want anybody to build false hope. I know because I saw you tweet it like right after the video came out. You was like, bro, don't mess with me. Like, and I feel like that's where a lot of certain people are, especially after seeing the interview. By the way, Trey Young with the podcast finally got to see it. Yeah, um, I don't know what's going on with that, but
Oh no, I was
yeah.
playing. I was playing the.
Don't. Don't what? Don't give me hope.
Hey man, but yeah, that was crazy. But hopefully, because all reports, to me, the Bulls said that he was missing this season. I didn't see
Yeah.
anything about the year. So I mean, maybe it is kind of a Paul George situation. Because I remember, he basically missed the entire year, and then he came back the last like 8 games, I believe, of one season. They didn't make the playoffs,
Right.
but I mean, listen, you never know with like what we just got done saying about where we think the team is, where we think the team's gonna be at the like for the entire year. Basically, gonna be better than some of these mugs. If he does come back, what is that road gonna look like? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hopefully he doesn't like he has no setbacks. We're hoping for a speedy and safe recovery, but at the same time, it's like, yo, if he does come back, like that would be crazy. But Stephen
And
A,
I think
you got to do better.
here's the thing too, right? Like I'm not sitting here telling you, and Stephen A's not sitting here telling you that Lonzo Ball's coming back. But to me, you've moved the goalpost on what the initial statement was to try and go deeper into this, to have a back and forth with Lonzo Ball. Like even today, right, on the podcast, he's like, would you like me to tell me the names of the doctors that operated on you? I know the actual doctors. If I said it, it's because someone close to you told me. And it's one of those things where it's like, listen, like, I respect Stephen A as a journalist. I think that he did vet his sources. I think that he did talk to somebody close to Lonzo that probably did say that. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that what Lonzo Ball put out there was wrong either.
Yeah.
For some reason, we live in a world where two things can't be true. Maybe Lonzo can get up without discomfort. And guess what? I'm going to take the comfort level of a guy based on what that guy tells me.
And
I'm going to take the comfort level of somebody based on the person that either has the comfort and or discomfort. And you can't just hit me with, oh, he goes, every time he gets up out of a chair. You know how many people go, when they get up out of a chair, bro? Like you see Muzz go, getting up out of a chair the next day after playing overtime in an NBA basketball game. It's like, oh, he's 24. He shouldn't be going, when he gets up. Like it's the dumbest thing in the world to me. And realistically, I think that it's to a point now where like I get what Stephen A. Smith is saying on him coming back and playing. It's probably not going to happen. Realistically, it's probably not going to happen. Even Lonzo saying he's coming back, it's probably not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that, the initial report that what you put out there is right. Two things can be true. And I hate that we live in this world where now these two are in a back and forth going at it. He's on his podcast. Lonzo, it's not even really a back and forth. It was Stephen A, Lonzo, Stephen A. We'll see if Lonzo responds again. But it's like,
probably not.
Like this is the same thing as always. We know that the Bulls content, when you poke the Bulls, when you go at the Chicago Bulls, it's going to get clicks. It's going to get attention. It's going to get more aggregated and all of that. This is what the national media loves to do.
Yeah. And real quick, because I gotta know when he says like I've talked to somebody like that's close to you, like I don't know, I really got a issue with that, like not much of an issue, but more so a question, because it's like I can be close to you, but I'm not, like, if I'm not in your camp, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like this person could have heard this. And then, kind of told Stephen A. But then, like, at the same time, if I'm not in your camp, like, what is that really doing? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like unless I'm just tripping on that, that's what I kind of read from this situation.
I mean, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know who Stephen A. talked to. I know that he's got good sources, right? Like, I know that he's a good reporter.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's got good sources. He's a good reporter, but also, right, like, it's one of those things where, yeah, those things may be true. You may be good at your job. You may be, but in this instance, the player is telling you I'm good. So the person you need to be going at is not Lonzo Ball. The person you need to be going at is your source.
True. I can see that.
That's the conversation you really need to be having, Stephen A. That's the conversation about who you need to be talking to, because you don't know how Lonzo Ball feels. This is about the discomfort of him getting up, not him being able to come back. He says he's coming back. I hope he can come back. But
we all hope he can come back.
But it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a guarantee. It's not a done deal. It's not, oh, one thing is I said this because he said this and this is what I heard. You need to talk to your sources. That's where it lies at for me, because you and listen, players lie. If this is a source that you trust, then maybe Lonzo capping, and when the camera cut off, he was, oh my God, my leg. Right? Like, maybe that's what I went down.
For real, yeah. Hey.
But it's one of those things where the debate back and forth, I hate to see when it gets to this point. And I feel like right over the last couple of years, especially with Stephen A. going at guys, this is where it's getting too often. And it's because of something else. It's because of, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if the source is LeVar. Would anybody be that surprised if LeVar was the source?
Nah.
Right? Like, LeVar's right? Like, Stephen A. and LeVar went out kicking it one night, and LeVar was the source. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah. I just, and you know what? Because he kind of alluded to this on PG's pod. By the way, if y'all have not checked that out, bro, please.
Hey, if you want to see a podcast that's good by a player, PG.
Oh yeah, no.
Don't go to Trae Young.
Yeah, no. Definitely don't go to Trae Young, because no. He kind of alluded to that, and kind of talking about some of the things that he take back, and yeah, I'm right with you. Like, the last couple of years, I mean, especially with the whole Kyrie situation, I just wasn't, kind of feeling that. But everybody makes mistakes now. Hopefully, from this time forward, he'll be able to grow from that. And like you said, hey, Lonzo could just be capping. They cut the camera off, and then
it could be. Like, that's the thing. He absolutely could be capping, but like, it's one of those things where the person who's supposedly feeling the discomfort that you reported on told you I'm not uncomfortable and said hit my line, and you chose to then go to the podcast space. That's my only issue. But you chose to run back to First Take. You chose to run back to the mic. You chose to get on instead of like, right? Like, and maybe he did. Maybe he did try to hit Lonzo up. Maybe he did try to reach out to him. Lonzo didn't hit him back. We don't know half the stuff that's happening behind the scenes with a lot of these people.
That's true. Because he does always say, hey, you can find me wherever. Like, I'm around. Yeah. So it's like, if you in that space, I mean, literally, I would have just rathered him. Because he always talks about the relationship he has with AI, and like, he's not gonna report something about AI unless he calls AI first. Hey man, like, in that type of situation, bro, if you want to know, man, try to get in touch with his sources. Then now, if not, then
I feel like when the whole beef with LeVar went down with all the networks, where he couldn't go on none of the networks no more, I feel like that's when right, like, you ain't seen a ball boy on there since then. You ain't seen LaMelo on ESPN. You ain't seen Lonzo on ESPN. Yeah, you're not gonna see these guys on there because they're not letting their dad on there, right? Like, that goes to a whole different thing. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a whole different thing for me. Let's close it out on this, just because Baki. That's really all I got on it, man.
What's good with it?
Hopefully they squash the beef. Here's the real debate, Pat. How will Jay Reinsdorf continue to mess up the White Sox this week? Yesterday, fired Kenny and Rick. Sox fans happy. Jerry, hold my beer. I'll stop that. He's talking about the fact that they bring back Tony La Russa as a consultant. Now, here is my pushback on all of y'all.
I got to go off.
We didn't want Tony as a coach. Tony is still a Hall of Fame baseball guy. Tony, the game passed him by. The coaching scene passed him by. That doesn't mean that he can't identify coaching talent. That doesn't mean he can't identify somebody who can be a good leader of men. Tony La Russa is one of the best baseball minds that we've had. The only reason we don't want him in this role for us is literally just because he was such a terrible coach here. So I don't have as much problem as many people do with Tony coming back. Now, listen, I also think it's a better role for him because you can reach out to Tony in between nap times. Right? Like you could be like, when are your nap times, Tony? 2 to 3, 5 to 6, and then I go to bed at 7. You know what I mean?
Hey,
I mean, you got an hour between 3 and 4 to get in there and talk to Tony. Perfect.
This is my window. This is my No, I mean, man, listen, I just cause I heard Ozzy and the guys basically talking about it. That there's no leadership, not whatsoever. Listen, and listen, they said it yesterday. They're looking for one singular guy. I'm with you on the Tony thing. Doesn't mean that he doesn't know how to identify talent, how to identify good leaders in the clubhouse. Just don't let this be the one singular dude. Just don't.
Yeah, no, he can't be the end all be all. There's got to be more people involved.
But like realistically though, like in a better version of this, who would you want? Now that those guys are gone, who would you want to see in that role?
Bro, I don't know, right? Like I could reach for the stars and say Theo Epstein, but like I don't know. You want to know why I don't know? Because of all the stuff that we heard today. Apparently, Rick Hahn tried to resign when they hired Tony La Russa. Jerry Reinsdorf told him, hey, I'm not going to let you go out and work for another team if you resign from this job. You still have years left on your deal. I'm going to hold you to those years. So if you don't want to work, be gone. Right? That's why Rick Hahn was sitting there looking like he was in a ransom note. This comes back to Jerry. It's Jerry. Rick Hahn would not have hired Tony La Russa. He would not have hired Tony La Russa. This comes back to Jerry. And what I see Jerry doing with the White Sox has me questioning the hold that he has on AK and the Bulls.
Oh, yeah, no, it definitely does.
Right, it felt like, oh, this isn't a Jerry thing anymore. This is finally breaking away and all of this. And now it's Michael in charge, and he's taking more of a hands-off role. That was supposed to be him with the White Sox, right? That was supposed to be him with Kenny. That was how this was supposed to go. This is all on Jerry.
And you know what, though? Like this is my last thing I was with this. It really got me questioning. With like when this came out. And then the whole time, Muggs was saying, "Oh yeah, no, we had deals in place for P. Will. Like we had deals in place. We had deals in place for these."
Well, I think that's AK. And I don't think Jerry's that tired of P. Will.
But then even then, he says, "Hey, you got free reign to go do whatever you want." So it's just
I don't know.
Nobody knows what's happening, bro.
I really don't. It all comes back to Jerry to me, man. That's what it all boils down to with everything.
Jerry, get it together, man. Get it together.
With the Sox. I mean, there's only one way for him to get it together. We won't say that on the air, though. But Michael Reinsdorf really just got to take things over. That's really what it's coming down to. Hopefully, we'll see that with the Sox here. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love to another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. We pretty much hit everything, right? There was no Blackhawks news, but outside of that, we pretty much hit on everything. Bears, Wolves, White Sox. We talk everything Chicago sports. We will get into the national sports as well when the seasons start rolling in and different things like that. When that's the bigger story or the biggest story of the day, we'll jump into those things as well. But stay in tune with us, man. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. We're live Monday through Friday. And, I mean, listen, as always, it's your boy Pat, the designer, back at it again, joined by the man formerly known as Ringo J. Stefan Nadon.
Yes.
Stay safe out there, Chicago. One love.
Stay hydrated.